Hello, everyone. Today I am talking about Darkest of Days. Wow. This is a really interesting game. It kind of has the feeling of like a random like sci-fi movie you'd find on the Sci-Fi Channel, like on a weekend or something. It has a really like basic setup, but it's honestly very, very interesting. Essentially, that you work for a time travel company, and essentially the time police show up and say that you need to find this guy who has escaped in time. And so you find yourself going through all these different battlefields that are not just World War II, but World War One. The Battle of Gettysburg and the Civil War, a whole bunch of iconic separate areas throughout history. And what I find is really interesting is that using these old school kind of weapons is actually a lot of fun, from muskets to pistols. And of course, the fun really begins when they let you use things like fully automatic machine guns at the Battle of Gettysburg. And it's just so absolutely ridiculous, but I love the fact it actually allows you to do this. And so basically you are looking, for certain targets in these time periods, taking them out to restore the proper timeline. And despite using these kind of archaic kinds of firearms and technologies, they can actually be a lot of fun. I was really surprised how it was fun to pick off enemies one by one from afar from a musket, and how it felt, more or less realistic, since there was no hit markers, no hit boxes. Sure, you have a reticle, but that's pretty much it. Darkest of Days is definitely one of those games where, I think when you start the game, there are no logos or, credits. The game just literally goes to the main menu and you just start it immediately. It's one of those really strange, weird games where it feels like it was made in some, in the backyard of someone's house or something, but it's made really well and has a great story, fun characters, and a really interesting campaign. This is a time when multiplayer shooters were a big thing, and this is a single-player game entirely. And it's just so interesting to see a game like this exist, and people really don't talk about it. I've seen a few people discuss it. I know it's not like a completely unknown or forgotten game, but it is definitely a very fun game that doesn't get enough credit for it, I believe. The story will take you from famous battlefields to places like Auschwitz, to other kind of areas in World War One, World War Two. But of course, the final mission is actually the most hilarious and ridiculous and fun one, where you have to follow other time agents to the eruption of Pompeii, in which you also have to fight Roman soldiers with machine guns, shotguns, and flamethrowers, which is just this most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And it's a lot of fun. Again, the story isn't super complicated or, convoluted. Essentially, that you have a set amount of targets to go through in each area and battlefield. Again, nothing, I think, for a caliber or a scope of this game doesn't ever overstay its welcome. It always feels like you know exactly where to go, who to shoot, what to do. I mean, the game itself is very broken. You could probably wander off the map and just wander into out of bounds very easily. Maybe fall off the map if you're not careful enough. It's one of those very poorly made games, but it's got a lot of heart and a lot of soul, and it's really not that bad, and it's kind of like a sleeper hit, frankly. There's other levels where, again, the biggest thing is when you take futuristic weapons like assault rifles and you go into the past and use them. One of my favorite ones was the automatic homing sniper rifle, where it would come with a built-in firing solution, so that even if your enemy was 50 yards away, it would tell you to point right above their head, because it's already factoring in wind speed and jitter and all that other stuff. So as long as you aimed right above their head or in the reticle where it wanted it to be, you were able to essentially always hit your target. Again, another thing I like about this game is just, and generally not very long. You can basically beat it in like maybe a day and a half, and it gives you a really interesting dynamic, a unique experience. Again, I just think it's funny. I've never seen a game where you can use, flintlock or, rolling, flintlock pistols, as well as muskets, as well as fully automatic machine guns and futuristic sniper rifles and flamethrowers and all that kind of stuff. I will have to say the trailers for this game are incredibly funny. There's one where it does a weapon showcase, and I find that to be exceptionally funny because when they talk about the shotgun, they just talk about the fact that it's a shotgun. What else do we need to say? And they kind of analyze all the weapons in the game. Voice acting is great. There are also a couple cool things where sometimes you won't have to assassinate your characters, but sometimes you will actually have to knock them out using these little beads, essentially, that will render them unconscious. Yeah, and basically the game ends with, the final sort of conclusion about finding out who was the guy you were supposed to find, and if you messed up the time continuity and whatever. Again, this game is very kind of bare bones, very basic. It's not hyper complex in terms of its gameplay or anything, but it serves a very unique, interesting story, and I think that's, at this point, all I can really say about it. I would definitely check it out. It's a very unique, very interesting game, and you will not be disappointed if you play it. But yeah, with all that being said, I think I will leave it there and put this on my list of weird, fun, hidden gems that you should definitely try. Okay, see you later, guys. Bye.